الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. وهذه إن شاء الله هي الحلقة السابعة لمادة اللغة الإنجليزية للمستوى الرابع في قسم الدعوة والاحتساب لطلاب وطالبات الانتساب المطور في جامعة الإمام محمد السعودية الإسلامية. والحلقة السابعة طبعا هي نفس الكتاب page 134 وعنوان الحلقة focus on writing style audience page 134. Page 134, as you can see from the book here, we have just style audience. Look again at the letters from confused shopper and Mr. Green on pages 125 and 126. Why did confused shopper and Mr. Green write these letters? How do these letters seem different from letters that you would write to a friend? I think, why did the confused shopper and Mr. Green write these letters? The confused shopper is trying to ask questions about these products, and also Mr. Green is answering his question because he's asking the difference between organic and regular produce. Number two, how do these letters seem different from the letters you would write to a friend? I think these letters are more formal and they have more information. So as you can see here, we have the audience, content and tone. In any kind of writing, audience refers to the people who read what you write, what you say, content and how you say it. Tone will depend on your audience. Tips on content: write about what your audience needs to know, write about what will interest your audience, and write about what will be appropriate for your audience. A letter to a friend will probably be about everyday personal things. A letter to a boss will probably be about professional things only. So this is the very important to know the difference between audience, content, and tone. This is very important. So this is very important. Also, tips on tone: a letter to a close friend may have a lot of slang and may sound very casual. A letter to a teacher or a boss will not use any slang and will be more formal. And when you write to a friend, you can express negative emotions like anger. When you write to a teacher, to a boss, or to a people you don't know, you should avoid expressing these emotions directly. So these are very important tips on how to write about this topic. So now we have the exercise here. We have the exercise: read the following note, then read the statements below. Circle the correct words to complete these statements about audience, content, and tone. So question number one, on page 135, he said, Matt is Alice's boss, husband, young son. If you read the letter, you will make sure that Matt is Alice's husband. So Matt is her husband, because this is very informal language, so she cannot use this language with her boss or her young son. So this is with her husband. So this is a letter between husband and wife. Question number two, this is page 135. The content is about what? Is it about work, everyday household items, or about personal topics? I think it's about everyday household items. Second one. Number three, the tone is it formal or informal? The tone is informal. So let's now move to exercise number three. As you can see in the book here, we have exercise number 3. Mr. Green wrote magazine articles about the organic food for 3 different magazines. Read the information about the 3 magazines. Okay. The following sentences, we have 3 different magazines, so just try to read them one by one and try to answer the exercise on page 137 or 136. Sorry, 136. This is very important exercise, very nice one. Number 1, growing organic vegetables is not as hard as you think. In fact, it might be easier and more fun. Instead of using chemicals to keep out insects, try planting flowers that keep insects away from your vegetables. This is you choose one of the three. Is it Garden Times or magazine or Farming News or Mother's World? I think the first one should take Garden Times. Garden Times. So this is for number one. Number two, read number two. 10 years ago, few people were willing to pay the higher prices for organic produce, but today you will find that many people will spend more money to buy fruits and vegetables that are free of pesticides and herbicides. So this is very specific statements, so it is for Farming News. Of course, number three for Mother's World. Now we go to exercise number four. Exercise number four. The following sentences come from two different letters. One addressed to the manager of a school cafeteria tells why the cafeteria should serve organic produce. The other letter addressed to a friend who always eats organic food tells about the cafeteria. Read each sentence and decide which letter is from. Check to manager or to a friend. So this is a very important exercise. You can just read the exercise here. Page 136. Page 136. Number one, organic produce is healthier because it is grown without chemicals. You think this is to a manager or to a friend? If you read it, of course, this is to a manager, because this is very, this is about trying to convince the manager about that, organic produce is healthier, because the friend is already the friend is already knows that it is healthier. Number two, isn't that crazy? No organic produce. So this is informal language. So this is to a friend. This is to a friend. Number three, I am certain that the cafeteria will attract more customers if it decides to serve organic produce. Of course, this is very clear, trying to advertise organic produce. So this is to the manager. She also trying to convince the manager to buy organic, organic produce. Number four, thank you for considering my request for organic produce. So this is, of course, very formal language. So this is maybe to the manager. Number five, take care, I will see you soon. So this is informal language. So this is to a friend. This is to a friend. So try to complete number 6, 7, and 8 as homework. Try to choose whether it's to a manager or friend. If it's informal, it's to a friend. If it is formal, to the manager. If it is, something about to convincing someone to buy organic food, it means that this is to the manager. Now let's go to the next part, grammar, which is grammar now. So let's go to the grammar now. Page 137, please. Just go to page 37, please. Grammar. Count and non-count nouns. Read the note on page 135. Again, underline all the food words in the second paragraph. Then answer these questions. Number one, which words are singular? What word comes before a singular word? Which words are plural? What is the last letter in the plural words? So let's now just take one by one. Let's take one by one, please. Let's take one by one. If we just go to the letter, which words are singular? What comes before a singular word? So in page 135, so which words are singular? We have home, we have store, we have cake. All these are of course singular words. So what words come before singular word? Of course, we have sometimes we have a or article, and then we have the article like before cake. We have a cake. Also, sometimes watermelon. We have a watermelon. So we have the word article a. And question number two: which words are plural? We have many words in the plural, like tomatoes. We have eggs, grapes. All these words are on plural form. What is the last letter in the plural words? Of course, the letter is S. Now let's go to page 137. Let's take a look at the screen here. We have count and non-count noun. So let's just take one by one and try to understand the meaning of each one here. Let's just understand the meaning of each one and know the difference between count and non-count words. Count nouns refer to people or things that can be counted. They can be singular or plural. Singular, one shopper, one vegetable. Plural, two shoppers, two vegetables. Use a or an before a singular count. I need an onion. I need a tomato. I need one carrot. Plural, I need onions. I need tomatoes. I need two carrots. S or es at the end of the word. Plural count nouns need only s or es at the end of the word. For example, we have carrots or we have tomatoes. Numbers can be used with count nouns, of course, like 2 here, or 1. Number 2, non-count nouns refer to things that cannot be counted. Don't use a, and, or a number before non-count nouns. Don't add s or es to non-count nouns. They don't have a plural form. So I buy produce at the supermarket. We have bread. I drink milk. So produce, bread, and milk, all non-count nouns. So number 3, some can be used with plural count nouns and non-count nouns in affirmative statements. I need some onions, count. I need some milk, non-count. Number 4, use any with plural count nouns and non-count. I don't have any onion, count. I don't have any milk, non-count. Nouns in negative statements. Number 5, a lot of can be used with the plural count nouns and with non-count nouns. I need a lot of onions. I need a lot of milk, count and non-count. So this is a very important, grammar note here. You should know the difference between count and non-count. So sometimes you can count, for example, tomatoes. You can count tomatoes, 1 tomato, 2 tomatoes, or, for example, we have 1 pin, 2 pins, 3 pins, 4 pins. Sometimes those are all count nouns. Those are count nouns. We can count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But non-count nouns mean something that we cannot count. For example, milk, we cannot count milk. Also water, we cannot count more water. So the difference between count and non-count, that count words or count nouns, we can count them. We can say 2 tomatoes, 2 chairs, 2 pens, 3 people, 3 persons. But non-count, we cannot say 2 milk, we cannot say 2 water. So unless we mean by glass. But for count, we can say we use 1 or 2 or a or an, while non-count, we cannot use a or an or number. So this is very important difference between count and non-count, of course. It's very important. So everybody should know and study the difference between count and non-count, and of course the best way is try to count them. If you can count them, if you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, you can say 5 chairs, this is count. If you cannot say 5 milk or 5 water, of course this is non-count. So this is the main difference between count and non-count. So this is very important. So everybody try to know the difference between count and non-count, which is, very important and very basic in learning English, of course. So now let's go to exercise number 2. Find all the food items on the note on page 135 and do the following tasks. Then check your answers with the classmates. Number 1, circle all the singular count nouns. Number 2, put a square around all the plural count nouns. Number 3, underline all the non-count nouns 2 times. So this is, if you go back to page 135, so circle the singular count nouns. So we have home, cake, also watermelon, store, all these are count nouns. Number 2, put a square around all the plural count nouns. So we have tomatoes, we have grapes, we have eggs. So all these are, of course, bananas. All these are, plural count nouns. Number 3, underline all the non-count nouns 2 times. So we have lettuce, we have rice, we have milk, and all these are, of course, non-count nouns. So let's now go to the next exercise. Go to the next exercise, please. Page 138. 138, please. Exercise number 3. Exercise number 3. Complete this paragraph with count nouns and non-count nouns. Make the nouns plural with where necessary. So we have here, after reading Alice's note, Matt went to the store. He bought what? Let's just take one by one. Let's take one by one. He bought egg, or is it eggs, you know, because this is counts. This is, we can add s. So he bought eggs, comma, rice. We cannot make it plural because it's non-count. So we say rice, comma, spaghetti, comma, milk, and bread. So all these are non-count words. All these are non-count words. And now the store didn't have any organic produce. So because produce is non-count, so he went to the health food store and bought lettuce, comma, tomatoes, we add es, bananas, we add s, and grapes, we add also s. But he forgot to buy a watermelon. He forgot to buy a watermelon. So this is the difference between count and non-count. So we have many words here: eggs, rice, spaghetti, milk, bread, produce, lettuce, tomatoes, bananas, grapes, and watermelon. So eggs, tomatoes, bananas, watermelon, and grapes are count nouns, while rice, spaghetti, milk, bread, produce, lettuce are non-count nouns. Non-count nouns. So this is the difference between those words here. We have some count nouns and we have some non-count nouns, which are, of course, we cannot count them together, right? So let's now go to the page 139. Page 139. Do exercise number 4 on page 138 as homework. Just let's go to page 139. We have exercise here. Now write sentences about what Alice has a lot of, what she has but needs to buy more of, and what she doesn't have. Use a lot of, some, and not, space any. Use a and an with singular count nouns. Number 1, she has a lot of walnuts. She doesn't need to buy any. She has some rolled oats, but she needs to buy more. She doesn't have any carrots. She needs to buy some. So try to look at the picture here on page 139 and try to complete 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 as a homework. Now let's move to the next exercise. Exercise number C, writing topics, page 139. Choose one of the following topics. Use some of the vocabulary, grammar, and style that you learned in this unit. Think of a recipe that you like and know how to cook. Write the recipe. You can use the recipe on page 138 as a model. First, list the ingredients, then write the directions for cooking. The directions should be in the imperatives, that is, use the base form of the verb. Be sure to pay attention to count nouns and non-count nouns. This is very important to differentiate between the count and non-count nouns. Or also, you can choose write a letter to Mr. Green, asking him about, you might want to read the letter by confused shopper again, page 125, and you might ask him about organic and regular produce. Or number 3, write a short explanation, 1 or 2 paragraphs about organic food for an article in a children's magazine. So try to choose one of these and use some vocabulary, grammar, and style. Of course, when you learn vocabulary, words, or you learn some grammar like count and non-count, the best way is to practice using them in your speaking and in your writing. So here, exercise writing topics number C. Of course, you have the chance to write about those topics and about those words which you learn, like count and non-count, and about the new vocabulary you learn in this lesson. It's very important to notice the use of those words in speaking in reading, in writing, and also in listening. So you have to use them as much as you can also. So now let's go to next page, which is page 140. This is do it as a homework, as I told you. We have here, let's now, this is also do it as assignment. On page 141, page 141, you have here schedule or a table kinds of produce. So let's just read number 4, page 141. Page 141, complete an information sheet like the following for each of the 5 kinds of produce you researched. Fill in the price for an organic and regular produce for each of the other categories: color, size, feel, smell, and taste. Check yes, organic or regular, the one that is better in this category. Then write a short recommendation for this kind of produce. Do you think people should buy organic, regular, or either one? I mean either one of those. So we have here kinds of produce. So you might write apple, strawberry, maybe pear or orange or banana, whatever. And then try to write the price, color, size, feel, smell, and taste. So if you just, let's take one example just to make it easy for everybody. For example, let's take an apple. So kind of produce is apple. So price, organic and regular. Which one do you think is more expensive? You think organic apple is expensive or regular? Which one is more expensive? From this lesson, from Mr. Green letter, of course, apple, organic apple is more expensive than regular apple because it's more difficult to plant. It takes more time, it takes more effort to plant organic, and usually organic fruits are less. Farmers who produce organic fruits, they produce less than who produce regular fruits, because the one who use regular fruits, they give more chemicals. So apple, we might say in our dialect Saudi, maybe we say organic might cost 2 riyal, while the regular might cost 1 riyal. And color might be red and might be yellow. So size might be medium or might be big. So just try to write the different size, price, color, feel, smell, and taste, and write your recommendation. You might say, I recommend that people buy organic fruits because they are healthier than regular fruits. So this is put all the charts together to make a produce shopping guide. Of course, this is a guide for you and for everybody. And also we have here assignment, writing a restaurant review, the last exercise, pre-writing, clustering, organizing, writing for your audience, and revising, choosing descriptive adjectives, and using count and non-count nouns, and editing, correcting run-on sentences. So this is very important exercise for you to learn more English, learn more, of course, vocabulary, more grammar, and of course more information about the organic and regular produce. And remember my words, it's very important to learn these words, understand the meaning, and try to understand how to pronounce them, how to understand their meaning, and how to use them in speaking and writing. And this is of course very important, and I also recommend that everybody try to check those words, to read them in paragraph. We have most of these words are used here in statements, in paragraphs, and in context. So I again advise and recommend that everybody should check them every time they see it. Okay, and that's all for today. وهذا إن شاء الله هو آخر ما في هذه الحلقة بإذن الله. وأوصي الجميع بضرورة مراجعة جميع الكلمات وجميع القواعد التي درسناها في هذا الدرس أو ما سبق هذا الدرس. وفي الختام أشكر الجميع، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.